Fathers of the Carmelite Order, the faculty of Christ University, and most important, my young friends. It's really a great honor and privilege for me to be here at Christ University. I was here a few years back to give a talk, and I really am thrilled with the progress that's happening here at Christ University. I graduated from IIT Bombay 30 years back, and it's always a pleasure for me to come back and interact with young students and think about their dreams and aspirations. And I thought I'll just share with you some of the things that I've learned in these 30 years, which has allowed me to do things which people feel were more than the normal things. Because when I was a student, I was a very, very ordinary student. I didn't have exceptional marks. I was pedestrian, to say the least. And yet somehow I've been able to do a number of things. And I thought maybe I'll share with you what I learned from this journey and maybe what lessons they could be for all of you. So I think, first of all, I believe a lot of my success is good fortune. My parents, though they were middle-class parents, they were in Bangalore, they lived on Magadi Road. My father was a mill manager in Minerva Mills. They deeply valued the value of a good education. So even though they could not really afford it, they sent me to good schools and made sure that I had a good foundation. My second big stroke of luck happened when I was very fortunate to get admission to IIT Bombay. Again, at the time of joining IIT, I was a young student in a small town called Dharwad, which I left after I left Bangalore. And in those days, only kids from big cities went to IIT because they could go and attend classes and do all the exams. People from small towns could not do that. But I was very fortunate that I had my cousins in Bombay who had done these exams, who had the textbooks, who gave me all the textbooks as a hand-me-down. And studying those textbooks and solving the problems, I was able to get into IIT. So the second big break I got was getting into IIT, where I was able to deliver, where I was able to really learn a lot. And I felt very grateful because when I look back at the history of the IITs, they were really set up by the Indian government, by Jawaharlal Nehru ji, to really create the human capital for the next generation. So I was a beneficiary of that huge act of intergenerational generosity of Jawaharlal Nehru ji. The third thing that really happened was when I got a chance to meet Mr. Narayan Murthy, initially I joined Patni, and then we co-founded Infosys in 1981, and that created, as you know, one of the world's most successful companies. So when I look at my success, so to speak, a lot of that has to do with luck, being at the right time, at the right place, meeting the right set of people, and having people making the right choices for me. So I think I always like to believe, therefore, that luck has a part. And at the same time, I feel that we are a young country. We are a country where all of you have huge aspirations. You have ambitions for yourselves and your future. And I wonder, I always think, if I was so fortunate that though I had fairly simple and straightforward beginnings, if I was able to accomplish what I did, why can't everyone have the same opportunity? To me, that's the single biggest thing that keeps bothering me, that we must create a society where your being able to succeed should not depend on just a few people getting the right breaks, but everybody should have a chance to do better. Because I think never in history has India had such a young population. Never in history have their aspirations been unleashed. Never in history has the need to provide everybody something, opportunity has been democratized. And I really think that our number one challenge is creating opportunities for all. And that's what drives me to do what I do. Now, what have I learned in these last 30 years? The first is I strongly believe that you cannot do things alone. That when I look at every one of the things I have done, it has been the product of a team of people working together for a common purpose. When we set out to create Infosys, I was one among 7 co-founders under the leadership of Mr. Narayan Murthy, and we all got together, and all of us had different skills. And the fact that we're all able to come together, put ourselves to a larger cause, to sacrifice short-term benefits for long-term success, that was the key to the success. So I learned from that the importance of being a team player, of collaborating with people, and really trying to make sure that everybody works together and does things. The other important lesson I learned from that was that it's impossible in today's world to know everything or do everything. And it's fairly sure that there are lots of people around you who are more capable, more knowledgeable, more skilled, more expert than you are. And therefore, if you really want to be successful, you must harness the talents of people around you. And that was a lesson I learned, which first in Infosys, and then when I went to do the Aadhaar project. The Aadhaar project was a very, very difficult project. The task that I was given by the Prime Minister was to give 1.2 billion people a unique identity number, something which has never been done before in the world. And I had to do it in a way that half the number of people, which means 600 million people or 60 crore people, had to get the number within 5 years. And this was only possible again because we were able to create a huge coalition of organizations, state governments, central governments, banks, technology companies, young motivated people, fertilizer companies, city governments. We got all these very, very, very different agencies together behind one common purpose, which was to give everybody an identity. And it was because we were able to create this huge coalition of forces that we were able to deliver on the promise. And today, as we talked about it, actually crossed about 54 crore Aadhaars, and by next 3-4 months, we'll cross 60 crore Aadhaars, which is the target that we had given. So again, this was a result of people coming together and working together to get things done. Another important lesson for me is that you must be willing to take the risk of breaking away from the pack. I think a lot of us often are under a lot of peer pressure. We are under pressure of our friends, our relatives, and they're all saying, do this, do this, do this, why are you doing this? And then we sort of fall into the trap. And I have found that it's often you have to march to your own drummer. You must really do things that you believe in. I remember when I was in college at IIT, all my classmates wanted to go abroad. They all were busy, GRE, GMAT. I'm sure you're also doing all that. Trying to go to some foreign college. But I really felt at that time that rather than go abroad, that I should really work in India, because I felt India was the land of the opportunity, India was the land of the future. And that's why rather than go abroad, I decided to stay and work in India. And again, a lot of people said, what a bad idea, you should be going abroad, you should go and work elsewhere and so forth. So that one time that I bucked the trend of what my peers did. The second time again was when Mr. Murthy invited me to join him in co-founding Infosys, because again, in 1981, entrepreneurship in India was not really considered the done thing to do. And lots of people, including my uncle, said, please don't do all these foolish things like starting companies, just take a good job, live in some suburb of Bombay, go to work every day, and be happy. But I felt, and my colleagues felt, that no, we have a chance to create a global company, a company which is different, a company which is professional, a company which believes in corporate governance, a company run on ethical lines, a company which really has a global perspective. And that was the motivation that led us to, all of us to start Infosys. And that again was going against the tide, because many people said this is not a great idea. Similarly, in 2009, when I was offered to join the government and do the Aadhaar project, again people said, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to leave a great job in a great company? Why do you want to get into the complexities of dealing with government? You know how difficult it is to get things done. You're going to be a failure. So I got lots and lots of advice of that type. But again, I said, no, this is something I should do. I've been a huge beneficiary of this country's investments in development, in education. I've been extraordinarily lucky, and I must spend the rest of my life really giving back in ways that provide value for the rest of India. And that was what took me to take up this project. And I was very fortunate that though the odds were very high against our success, the fact that we were able to assemble a team of people from very different backgrounds, from the government, from outside the government, all of whom were united by one purpose, to give everybody an ID number. And the fact that we were able to succeed against all the odds, I think showed again that you must do things even though the advice given to you is something else. So I think this is a very important attribute that is required, that you must be willing to go against the tide. You must be willing to take on new challenges. You must be willing to get out of your comfort zone. And that's a very, very important thing, because the biggest insecurity is in our own hearts and minds. If we don't have the courage to step out and try something new, then we will never do anything different. And I think that's one thing that I believe in, and I'm always willing to try new things. Each of those new things may involve changes in the way I think, the changes in the way what I believe in, changes in the way I conduct myself. But I do believe that one has to keep pushing and trying all the time to make ourselves better, to really equip ourselves for the future. So I've really now come to the conclusion that the biggest thing India needs is the creation of opportunity for everybody, that we need to do something, because I feel that we have this extraordinarily young and talented population. All the people in this room are testimony to the great talent that we have in India. But unless we create the right systems, the right procedures, the right architecture, the right institutions, the right organizations, the right collaborative models, we will not be doing them a service. We'll end up, often not letting them reach their full potential. And that's really what I believe in. I also believe that these things can't be done by one person. It's about teamwork. It's about getting people from different walks of life, get them together, and march towards a common goal. We did that at Infosys, where we started with an idea and created one of the world's most successful companies. We did that at Aadhaar, where we started with an idea and created the world's largest ID initiative. And today I wanted to launch something here called Ideas for Bengaluru. Because I think we are all here as residents and citizens of Bengaluru, and I think we really want things to get better in our city. This is a city which has the potential to be really a leading city, a world city, a city which you can be proud of. I was part of the efforts in the last 10 years to make Bangalore as a global city, a city whose name is recognized everywhere around the world. And I think there's so much to be done in this city, whether it is providing better opportunity for our people, whether it's improving infrastructure, providing better transport, better water supply, better public transport. I think there's so many things that we can do. And whatever I've learned in the past has taught me that you can't do that alone, that you have to do it together. That's why I want to launch this idea of Ideas for Bangalore. And I would urge all of you to join me in making Bangalore a better city. And I believe the same kind of collaboration which allowed me and my colleagues at Infosys to create a great company, the same kind of collaboration which allowed me and my colleagues at UIDAI to create a great ID platform, I now want to use the same concept of collaboration, partnership, togetherness, going towards a single value to create a better Bengaluru, and I want to invite all of you to join me in that. Thank you very much.